happening? Excuse me. Hey, are you okay?
I know your secret. You're a kraken hiding as a human.
You really gotta go
now.
I will start by saying that I'm a big admirer of both of your works. I think The Croods is one of the coolest animated films of the last, decade or so. I love the Trolls movies way more than I ever expected I would. And Ruby Gillman looks really, really fantastic. I have seen the trailer. Looks great. That's all I've seen from the movie. Haven't been given any press documents or anything, so I'm learning everything in real time, which is very exciting for me today. Let's start off with, we don't have a lot of time. I have a lot that I do want to ask. Let's start off with, what can we expect from the film? Can you tell us a little bit about the story and what we can expect from it?
Yeah, go for it.
No, you go.
No, you.
Okay. So Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is the story of a young, sort of ordinary girl set in extraordinary circumstances. She's doing her best to blend in and fit in at high school, but her family has a deep secret, which is they are kraken. They are sea monsters from the sea, and her family has been hiding in plain sight. What basically happens is that Ruby jumps into the water and it awakens this sort of dormant side to her, and she becomes a giant kraken, which makes life at high school rather difficult. But in addition to that, she also learns that she has a larger destiny, which is to become the queen of the seven seas. It's her grandmother before her, and then her mother. And she learns that part of why her mother moved them to land was to protect her from having to be embroiled into this underwater battle that has been waging for centuries. And so the story is really Ruby's path of self-discovery and her embracing that hero that's within her and embracing her true identity as a giant kraken.
See, I couldn't have done that. Way better. Way better when she
It's
done
not true.
Sounds great. I'm so excited for it. And what I want to know, I was trying to listen very, very carefully in the trailer to if I could pick out any of the voice cast. I couldn't do it. Are you able to talk about the cast that you've been able to get on board for this one?
All right, so, or we could do a little game show setup if you want to take a couple of stabs at it. Want to take some guesses and give me some shots?
One is an
I could
Australian
not.
icon.
One is an Australian icon.
They sounded very familiar. I couldn't peg it.
So the voiceover, Grandmama, is played by Jane Fonda.
Amazing.
So the great Jane Fonda plays Grandmama, the queen of the seven seas, the giant kraken. Ruby is played by Lana Condor. And in the trailer, where are the voices?
I don't think Agatha's featured in it, but Ruby's mother is played by Toni Collette.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. Homegrown talent of
Local
Toni
hero.
Collette.
And
Yep.
Chelsea, the evil mermaid, is played by Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, that's incredible.
Wonderful, hilarious, yet deliciously evil villain for our hero Ruby Gillman.
That is awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I want to know, the film is very visually different, I think, than anything else. What were your inspirations in forming the style, the artistic, the creative style of the movie? Yeah, where did you pull inspiration from, and what was, I guess, the impetus behind the look of the film?
Oh, well, the look of the film was really designed by our great production designer, Pierre-Olivier Vincent, who had designed all the How to Train Your Dragon films. And one big design concept he had was to, inspired by the curviness of the octopus, our octopus lead characters, which was to keep that curviness and to allow that to inform all of the design from the cars to the refrigerators to the houses to the underwater kingdom to the characters themselves. And then another part of the look of the film was designed in part by our head of animation, Carlos Bertolas, who wanted to have this sense of fluidity throughout the animation to give it that animation style. So both on land, when Ruby and her family, you'll see there's a lot of squash and stretch animation that we're playing with. And then underwater, when they're giant kraken, there's almost a fluidity of a balletic quality. It's really quite elegant and graceful, especially when Grandmama's swimming. Ruby at first is kind of a mess when she's swimming because it's new to her underwater. But she grows into her own, and she grows into her own power as the movie progresses. But Grandmama herself is such an elegant, wonderful power underneath the water. And also there's a big part of this movie that has the lighting. The lighting of this film is to show this Kraken world that we've never before seen in this bioluminescent palette that brings to life, and it's sort of an aspirational journey, but also how it can also be very daunting and formidable for Ruby as she has to grow throughout the second act.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. Like straight away, first frame of the trailer, you just know we're in for something completely different. Look, I look back over the list of DreamWorks movies for like the last decade or so. There's been 19 films. Only 5 of these are originals. So we're talking about a vast majority of these have been sequels. They have been either, or based on previous existing sources like books or whatever have you. How exciting is it to tackle an original like this? This is, again, I think this is a completely original story that has been developed. How exciting is it to tackle something original? And what do you think the importance of being able to work on something like this is in this market that is really saturated by franchise-driven, IP-heavy films?
No, I worked on 2 of them, so I love it. Obviously, I don't know if that was a smart decision or a bad decision, but I love it because I think that the artists here bring so much to the party, and they love to be involved in the storytelling. And I come from writing, and I love being able to take the best ideas from everybody and put them into it. And sometimes, yeah, it is something that when you're dealing with IP or something that super cool, nothing against it, but there is something that the artist really can feel ownership of, because we create the world and the characters together. There's nothing that came before. I know it's rare. Maybe we should blow smoke off the campanile like another pope has died or something. But they are rare. They are rare. But I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that. But anyway, so the idea that that it's the best of what we can bring, and this studio is created. It's an IP studio, and that's what animation is so built for. Because we get to iterate and we work with the same team over and over, and we know each other, we trust each other, because that's the biggest thing, is that we have to show these things to our crew when they are not working at all, and we have to trust that they believe in us to make it better, that they are going to be hard on us to make the next one better, to make the next one better. The one place that it is difficult that you have to find quickly, and it's something to have great artists like POV and Carlos Portos and other people around us, is to find that tone, and that takes some time on an original, to find the tone of the world and the voice.
Yeah. Do you find there's a risk, perhaps, these days tackling something that might be a little bit more original? Particularly, Kelly, you did the Trolls movies. I guess, in respect, you made them as original as you could, but it was based on a older IP. Is there a risk in tackling something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you make a movie, there's a risk, right? Like you're definitely putting yourself out there and hoping that an audience will respond to the story that you're telling and the characters that you've created. I think for us, we just fell so in love with the character of Ruby Gillman that we're just really excited for the world to meet her and to get to know her friends and her family and her grandma, and to go on this journey with her. That, that's really where we've been focusing all of our attention and all of our efforts. And I think, to Kirk's point about working at DreamWorks, is there is such an incredible pool of artists to pull from. They're all masters of their craft. And I think only DreamWorks and maybe 1 or 2 other places can really deliver that epic scale and that cinematic experience that those artists can do. So for us, it's really thrilling to be able to work on something new and fresh and exciting, and it makes it worth the risk, and I think that's a big part of what Ruby's journey is, right? Is that sometimes playing it safe isn't, as much of a reward as taking that risk and going big.
Oh yeah. She put the theme right into your question. Did you see that? That was pretty awesome.
I love it. Look, as a fan of DreamWorks since my childhood, and a big film fan, a huge animation fan, I'm very excited to not only see the return of Shrek. DreamWorks is bringing Shrek back, but I'm equally as excited to see originals like this coming out, and I'm so excited for the movie. We have unfortunately run out of time. There's so much more that I'd love to speak to you about, but I'm really excited for the movie, and I want to wish you all the best with it, and can't wait to see more from it. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise, we look forward to talking to you again when it comes out.
I'm a flippin' mermaid, not